Hello, everyone. What's up?
Good
Hello.
morning.
Oh, we have special guest Tiani, as everyone might notice. Um, she finally figured out shapeshifting in real life. Uh, and there we are.
What?
What, you don't see her?
Oh, okay.
That's our
I
special
gotcha.
guest. So what's up, everyone? Welcome to the welcome to the weekly Milestone Catcast. And today we got special guest Tiani,
There.
and we got a sleepy Srine that just woke up, rolled out of bed, and got on stream. We got a lot of stuff to talk about today. Obviously, there's a little cultist event going on right now, and I'm standing at it along with Srine. So we're gonna try to pay attention to it best we can while doing this podcast. But how did the week find both of you? How are you doing?
This week has been hell for me. I've been working too much and with things that aren't really part of my normal job, so I've been tired.
I hear you. What about you, Steve?
This week's been all right. Nothing too crazy going on in real life. Just a lot of busy stuff in terms of going on of like stuff in the game.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah. We can get into it. So where do you guys want to start? Oh, somebody says they can't hear Tiani super well. Let's see here.
probably because I don't really have a microphone.
I can hear you. Can you hear her, Steve? Like, how
Yeah, I
can
can
you
hear
hear?
her just fine.
Okay. We'll see how it pans out as we go along. Um, yeah, there's all kinds of stuff to talk about this week. I put the list in Discord. What do you guys want to start with?
Well, I haven't been online much this week, so if you want to start off with talking about stories that happened this week, I would be super interested in hearing it because it sounds like fun.
Oh yeah. So yeah, we have a segment where we talk about things that happened to us in game this week. I know a lot of times people don't. Sometimes some people don't like that because they'd rather hear about the whole game. But I think interesting stories from this past week. I guess one of the things I think that happened since last time is that I got inducted into the Mario's order, which was cool. Uh, Character hasn't been in an order since Ethne's about almost 2 years ago. So that was cool for me. And really, I think the story of the week for a lot of us, at least me, is how many freaking newbies and like all kinds of like activities going on with new people and stuff. That's been great to
Yeah,
see.
it's been fun seeing a lot of more people on Who and Quick Who. It's exploded.
For sure.
And I like that we've seen a lot of event posts and stuff going on the news boards because it makes the game come alive.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed seeing this newer player that converted from Shadow to Spirit, Saran, who I believe is Rowan in the chat, who's been with us the last couple weeks, giving us lots of questions and stuff. Um, really cool player. I've enjoyed playing with them. It's funny because like we went in the last like few weeks from having like nothing to talk about to like a million things a week now. So
Yeah.
I mean,
hey,
but I think that's that's definitely a good problem to have,
yeah,
you know.
it's definitely an embarrassment of riches, as I've said. Hey,
Right.
there. Speak of the devil. There's Rowan in chat. Hey, Rowan. I was just telling them how I enjoyed playing with you this past week. We are talking about interesting stories from the week. So, what about you, Steve? What has there been anything interesting in game that you want to talk
I
about?
mean, man, there's just been like just a plethora of stuff.
Yeah,
And I mean, I think it's worth noting that even if there weren't that many like new people coming like to the game, or new or returning players, like you can definitely see that there's stuff going on like behind the scenes, and that there's constantly change logs being done.
yeah,
If you have the config setting, set up to where you get to see ideas submitted and deleted, like it's just late night, like it's just rapid fire, like them just getting rid of ideas or getting rid of bugs or anything like that. So it's like you can definitely see that there's some very clear movement behind the curtain, and I think that that's great. I mean, we're like less than, I don't even know, like less than a month into Ictinus's takeover
Yeah.
of being the producer, and like this is a great start. Like, so I'm very optimistic, and I'm like excited to see what happens. So
I mean, it's not to say that things haven't happened behind the curtains before. It's just that now it feels like we see more of it.
right, like it's a little bit more
Yeah.
obvious, like
Yeah.
that stuff is going on. Yeah,
Yeah. And that's good.
yeah. So, and I know that just for me, personally, in terms of like events, like stuff that has gone on, there's been a little bit of like movement in terms of like the cult stuff, like people like pretending to be the cult, which happened relatively late night for me. Like I was about to like go to bed at like 12:30, and it sucks because like Enorian and Spirit's Out in general doesn't really have a super active like European or
late
like
night Eastern
late night, like, or
Pacific.
like
Yeah,
Australian like type of player base. um so like really it was like just me and I have like two dead guards. I'm like, oh shit, I'm so tired, I just want to go to bed, but I ended up staying up for like another like 2.5 hours, like seeing the whole thing through. But it was good. Like it was definitely worth kind of screwing up my sleep schedule a little bit for. So but
yeah.
yeah, so I mean, not to like discourage any like late night stuff. And I think that
Yeah, I think it's good if
Yeah.
it happens, but yeah, I just haven't been able to come around much this week, even in my evenings, European time, which is sad because when stuff is going on, you really, really want to be there and experience it. Uh, Now that there is stuff happening.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the week before that, though, were you around much? Like, do you have anything, like, any cool stuff to report on your end, like, that's happened between when Nick Tennis took over and now? Like,
No, not really. I've basically just managed to start getting back into the game
oh, okay.
and just picking things up. You know, I've I've been keeping my shop up and doing small time RP here and there with people, but nothing huge at all.
Gotcha.
So, but it's fun that things are starting to happen so that I feel more drawn to the game again. It's been a bit too quiet, so I haven't had the chance to build up my excitement.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, we can circle back to some more interesting stories for the week as we think of them as we go along. One thing I would like to talk about, like, that's on the list, and it'll be more of a short thing, is the fact that I love that when September 1st rolled around, he posted the new promo for the month, right? And it's
Yep.
literally just like a flat bonus to credits, which is like the most simple hands off thing you can do, and I think that that's awesome.
right. I mean, and then like
Instantly.
the fact that it came like literally like within seconds of like the howling tick was like great.
Yeah, yeah,
Previously we wait like a couple hours, on the
yeah,
low end, and like a couple days on the long end. So I think this
Yeah.
is great in terms of like uh, kind of putting his money where his mouth is, and like
Yeah.
and doing exactly what he said he was going to do.
Yeah.
Being punctual, being on time, less less focus on promos and more on getting events and breathing a little bit more life into the game. And like we're only a couple weeks in, and he's very clearly doing that. So great job.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, our Solani friend Wyatt's in chat and says plus 50% off is very hard to come by, as anyone who's been a long time player would know. Yeah, the biggest bonus that I saw, like, and it was around when I made this character. It was one of the big purchases I made. I think it was like a month after I made this character that you could do. I think it was like 30% and 40 with the membership. But that was like in November of 2019. So yeah, they
I
don't
think
do
that
40
might
50
be
very
the
often.
standard for a while, 30% credit sale. And I mean, it's a good fallback.
Oh yeah.
It's simple, easy, and it doesn't have to be more complicated than that.
Yeah, and like Rowan says in chat, it's a good point. It's very good for new players too, which goes perfect with the fact that we have a bunch of new players, because sometimes they just want raw credits for like lessons and artifacts and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's good
Which is
stuff.
good. Gets them started, and hopefully with all the events and everything, they get hooked on the game and stick around, because that's basically what got me started in the game as well. Stuff happened, and all of a sudden, I wasn't even supposed to be playing. I just randomly made a character to prove someone else that okay, I've tried it. Let's move on. You don't have to talk about it so much. And then all of a sudden, playing 16 hours a day.
Right, yeah, for sure.
Whoops.
Yeah, and as Beautiful Chaos says in the chat, it's good for cities too. Like Anorian has gotten more credit incoming the past 4 days than we've gotten for any promo in the past several months, which is true because I was just thinking the other day when I saw it, I was like, man, there was 2 days back to back where like there was a plus 200 in the city logs and then a plus 250 or something. The next
Oh
day, I
yeah,
was
I saw
like,
that too.
geez, yeah. I don't know who it was, but like it was someone in our guild too. So,
Yeah.
but I just found that wild. I was like, man, those are some big purchases. So it's good stuff. It's good for everyone when the game does well like that. I think. I mean, obviously it's good for them monetarily, but like it really is good for the orgs too, and
Yeah.
good for people. Like when new people do it and people mentor them, it helps the mentor, helps the protege. It's good all around.
Well, and I mean, I think that it goes a long way. I mean, because like it doesn't really cost them, really anything to give out credits. I mean, it's invisible currency.
Right,
It's
right.
basically it's the Dave and Buster's approach, the giving
Yeah.
real life money for like a some perceived value. So, and since there's so much going on in the game now, and that we're starting to get back up to speed like where we should be, that it's I think that with this 50% credit sale or whatever, like the perceived value is there, that people couldn't justify spending money on salvage like that last month or whatever, and I was one of those people where I didn't buy any salvage because I'm like, great, now I'm gonna have my level 2 gauntlet and level 5 ring. Like, woohoo, like there's nothing going on in the game, but
Yeah.
now that stuff's going on, I'm like, oh shit, like I wish I had bought salvage because but you can't really like live your life around that and
Right.
making like anticipatory purchases for when stuff gets interesting. Like that's just none of us have crystal balls. Maybe Tiani might. But.
Sadly, yeah, no. I tried talking to my cats and asking them to tell me what's going on and stuff, but they don't really talk back too much.
That's unfortunate.
Yep. Right
Okay.
now, one of them is hiding underneath the covers.
I see.
I don't know what he's doing.
Yeah, we could so we talked about the promo bit. I just wanted to say that I think it I really do think it's great that like he was like we're not going to focus on promos, but still dropped one that is just perfect for the way the game's going right now, which is a good thing. And I did Alayla says in chat, Tiani's going to sound like this to me in character now, just FYI. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay, that's fine. I could get some blue hair for it too, then maybe.
Good stuff. Yeah, I do have a topic on here about just talking about the increased activity. We did that, but like again, I know on our side I've seen a lot of it. And you haven't been on much, Tiani, but I think some people in Shadow on Discord indicated there's been a lot of new people in Shadow too. So
yeah, there have been. I've seen that just on the occasional popping in.
Yeah.
But it's been quiet when I've been around mostly, but that's been very short moments here and there. So I know that Bloodlock has had some more activity with Villimo
Yeah.
events and stuff. So
yeah, we can talk about that a little bit too. That's on the list. So we already talked about the increased activity a good bit there. So let's take that off the list, and we could talk about Villamo for a little bit. I didn't go to it because I just figured it was like obviously mostly a Bloodlock event. But I know that before they cut Villamo off, like it was part of my quest loop for a long time going to Villamo, and I was real sad when they like blocked it off. I was like, oh come on, man, like why you gotta do that? But
blocked off for a long time. They closed it off before New Year's, I think.
Yeah, I wasn't playing.
It's been closed for a while because I remember that during the maybe it was during the Curse event.
Yeah, I think that's part of it.
It was closed off because
stopped everything.
Yeah, because I was using it to because the only way you could get into it was with wormhole, so I was using it to keep away from people that were like trying to spread it to Saran. And so I was in there, and I think the Iacine popped in and was like, "Hey, what's up? You got to go because this is a Bloodlock territory, and like it's going to be a potential war zone." So I was like, "Oh, okay," like, haha, and I got like a little interaction, like a blessing out of it. And then
that's cool.
I thought it was great because like I was using Villamo as like my personal like longevity and milestone ground because like nobody else could get to Nizak or any of like all those mobs in there were like 10 weeks plus. So I was like, oh, this is fucking great. And I went to go do it one day, and apparently somebody had destroyed my wormhole. And I'm like, but nobody else knew about it except for like me and I think like 2 other spirit players. So it must have been a Selene that took it down. So I was mad heated about that.
Yeah.
Oh man. Then we need to update
the wormhole nexus. Yeah. I didn't get to go to Villamo yet. It's been real busy since they did the event last night with like Worry and like a bazillion lessers back to back to back. So and then I had to go to bed and do other things.
So I checked out Villamo last night. I mean, there as far as I saw, like my because I have the Atlas artifact that tells me how much of like an area is explored.
Mm-hmm.
It's still at 100%. Like they didn't change anything. As far as
think
I know,
they,
they didn't change any of the room descriptions. They didn't change any of the mobs.
Huh.
So it was just blocked off. And whatever event they did, ultimately, I don't think like changed the area all that much. There's a bunch of flowers all over the place randomly. I'm not sure what that's all about. But you know, in terms of like the mobs or whatever being there, as far as I know, it's
everything
still
else
just
looks
kind
the
of
same.
as it was. Yeah. So, but I mean, I think that it's great that uh, that this seems to have finally like wrapped up. Like this
Yeah.
like territory is revolting, and you know like all this stuff has just been so like long and drawn out that I think that it's
Yeah.
finally great that Bloodlock got to do their corporate led team building event
Corporate
and
team building of it.
that that they're all kind of like on a hopefully they're on a better page now, because I mean nothing brings people together um like
I think that
war, having something common to fight against.
generally having these kinds of events now and then would be good for all cities because they need that kind of thing to um, keep together and do stuff for their city, everyone involved, and moving forward in a way. Even if it's just, repeating parts of something, it's, the area around Bloodlock, it's natural that they try to rebel against Bloodlock because that's how it's always been.
Mhm.
Um, and I think events in Jarrow and Tynehelm and stuff around Enorian, if people do small events more often, it will sort of break this. And I'd like to say that people are a bit starved for events, so that everyone is sort of rushing towards events when anything happens.
Mhm.
Everyone wants to be there because they don't know when they get the chance next. And holding more small events like this would probably make people realize that, yeah, it's okay. I'll get mine soon. It's fine. I don't have to, as you said, rush in because this is probably a bloodlock event, so I don't have to go there.
Right.
But when people are starved, it's more common that they actually rush in, and it can disrupt things or throw things way off
Right.
from what it was supposed to be.
And Mule said in chat, none of the areas we took back over have changed yet. Keep your eyes peeled for the future. So maybe it'll change still. So
It's possible that it's going to change, yeah.
I mean, I think even before Icarus, took over, I think I kind of like predicted this in that you'd have to like it would have to be a lot of like little stuff and kind of like a slow drip, of to like so that way, because like the Atolian community, we're pretty ravenous for any sort of like event to happen right now. But there's so much happening, and like
Yeah,
this is like the perfect, so like it doesn't really matter like what time you're on. Chances are there'll be something that's happening that you can like be like, oh my god, an event, and everybody wants to go into this and be involved and feel like
yeah,
they can contribute and kind of like have that hero moment. Like that's something that kind of all of us crave. Like that's why we play this this
yeah.
epic world and this
And I mean,
this
it
epic
doesn't
game.
really have to. It doesn't really have to be that you're the hero. Just pitch in.
Right.
Just a small thing. Most of the events that have happened over the last few years, even Jox the Serpent up in uh, the Western Tundra, it all the major things happened around Howling, which made it impossible for me as a European to be part of the bigger things unless I tossed around my sleep schedule, which at the time was completely impossible due to work. So just be able to pitch in a little bit and know that, yeah, I was part of it and I made a difference. My character made a difference even
yeah.
if it wasn't at the major event, but I made a difference in between the major events. Or please hold a smaller part of the event at different times so that others can interact and get NPC interaction because it was completely quiet whenever I was around. I couldn't get any information. People didn't talk. It was impossible to know what had happened because when I came around, it was either very quiet, no one was around, or people were around, but they were hesitant to speak, or they just, didn't think it was interesting, or yeah.
Right. I think that one of the hardest things for me is that we have all these new players coming into to Anorian and the Templars and whatever, and uh, I mean Sran tends to be like kind of in these like circle, like he's part of the Grey Accords, so he hears stuff from Spine's region during and Bloodlock and has to relay all that information. So sometimes it's very difficult for me because everybody who's not in the loop wants to be brought into the loop like immediately. So and it's very difficult to kind of like give people those updated reports on what's going on in a timely manner, in an in-character manner, when I'm
Right.
still trying to sort it out.
Right.
So like that's basically been like my go-to answer to a lot of these Templar that are trying to ask me like what's going on, and I'm like, you'll know as soon as I know, and I'm like, and I'm not going to tell you guys because like if we have conflicting information or wrong information, there's no fact there. It's just speculation.
Yeah,
So
the
like
thing
just
is,
let me
if
do my due
something,
diligence first, and then I'll come,
yeah,
tell you what's going on.
the problem is that most of the time if I log on, I might even know that something has happened at all because there's no new news post. There's been no chatter. No one is speaking about it. And then a few days later, uh, something might pop up or someone might say something about something that has happened. And my character is like, huh? The world almost ended again? Because I wouldn't know. I haven't heard about it. And all of a sudden it's like everyone knows, but I haven't even heard a whisper of it. Even if I check, you check C tells, you check G tells, everything, and it's like, okay, nothing. It's like, hi, good morning, hail, Spines Reach, yay. That's all there is for the last 20 commands or something. And then I know that before that, oh, Sealy, I know that something happened because people have been chatting about it on the forums or in Discord, but my character can't know. She doesn't know a thing. And Grey Accords is really good, but it's just for the people who are in leadership. And
Right.
if that's not shared to the general populace, they don't know that stuff is going on. Which is
Right.
sort of why I wanted I asked Ictinus about the possibility of setting up some kind of bulletin board, small, short notices that people can write. For example, the city cultural ministers and city leadership can just write up small notices saying, this has happened. You get more information on the city news when we know more about it. Where you can basically toss up small, short stories of everyday life just to show that this city is alive.
Yeah. You could maybe
I
even
think that
do
would be
that.
good.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, as far as like a board that does that, you could even have it be like a tavern NPC for each city to do
Yeah.
that sort of thing.
Oh, and like hear like gossip type stuff,
Yeah.
That would actually be really good. I would enjoy that. Yeah. Where
So
like, you just be walking around a tavern and
go somewhere and just sit down and just say, okay, so what's been going on the last week? Do you have any gossip? And then they can tell you, oh, have you heard anything about? There was something going on in Duran, or Enorian had some problems, and or if you go to a tavern somewhere in Duran, you might ask, and they're like, yeah, apparently 5 Spirian guards fell off the wall because of the ice and had to go to the infirmary. I mean, it could be ridiculous stuff like that. It would make things more fun, and it would just, yeah, I don't
Yeah.
know.
And like Wyatt said in chat, City Crier could be useful for that instead of
mm.
advertising the same things for the
Actually,
past year.
it's funny
Yeah.
that he mentioned that because
Yeah.
I hadn't even considered that.
Yeah. That's
So
like what
and
it's for, though. Like.
right. And just to kind of address the gray accords thing, like I know that it's information kind of like shared just between
Yeah.
six people, because I think there's two from each city.
Yeah.
I personally, the people that are in there, we don't try to gatekeep any of that information. Like as soon as we all try to share that freely between us, and then we go out and explain to our citizens or whatever what we know. Like I've shared enough information with the Templar and with the Norian that they should be caught up to speed. We've kind of held off on giving out details about certain things because there's still a lot we don't know.
Yeah.
And honestly, the one thing that sucks with the Norian is that there's so much red tape in that it's
Yep.
this ministry handles this thing specifically, so you don't want to step on somebody's toes, like making a post on their behalf, and it's just like that's like half my job is trying to figure out who should be making this post. Do I pawn this off to the Minister of Security for them to make the post, even though I was the one there? It's just it's kind of a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
That's sad because it shouldn't have to be that way. People
Nope.
shouldn't have to feel like they are being trampled on because you make a post. I mean, if you're part of the government of a city, even if it's a minister or if it's like city leader or if it's part of the advisory, whatever. If you make a post, it's for the city's good. Always trying to inform people. So if anyone is like, "Oh, I should have told people that," well, you hadn't yet, and I thought it was important enough to share. Um, just see it as me helping you or something.
Yeah. It's Anorian is just it has a lot of bureaucracy and micromanagement, and that just is what it is. So
I think we have that in the Spine's Reach, and it doesn't feel that way, at least. We chit chat some on plan now and then if there's anything that people need to know and need to share. But usually people do their own business, and if someone has something to say, just post it.
Yeah, but I think the town crier thing is good. I actually might update the Enorian town crier with some of the guard killings later today. So
Yeah.
okay, so we talked about the Villamo thing, which led into all the stuff we just talked about, strangely enough. But let's talk about, because this was a thing on the forums that people posted about, and I don't think we've talked about it much on the stream yet. Is the sanction system? Well, I mean, it's a thing that people are interested in. Like, I think it's a interesting system. Like, I think it's the idea of it's interesting, but it's another one of those things. I think the execution's a little bit off. Um, like
I when I was a guild leader for the Sciomancers, it wasn't really difficult to get sanctioned to Sciomancers. All you had to do was RP with me. That was sort of my payment. You want something from me, RP with me, and I'm fine, and then you can get in. Just don't mess up inside the guild hall, and if you bring some enemies in, I'll send Mazion after you. That was basically my go-to. So I think it's one of those, depends on how you utilize it. I think it shouldn't change too much, but it's a cool feature. I think it could be used in different ways. It shouldn't gate too much, especially not in combat, because I think that combat should be completely separate from access to the guild hall and more an RP thing would probably be a good thing.
yeah, and some of them,
I definitely agree with that.
some of them are like that, and then some of them aren't. It's just it feels a little all over the place, And then obviously, Sciomancers still don't even have a sanction.
So how
like,
long have sanctions been out? Because they weren't a thing like when I stopped playing. So like, one, how long have sanctions been out? And two, how long have the Sciomancers been a guild? And I guess three, how long have the Sciomancers been without sanction?
I can actually look that up in the news for you. Guild sanction, it looks like, were implemented by Gallius in 2011. in
in the wrong
August.
So 10 years ago,
Yes.
Yeah.
the
The thing is,
Sciamancers have been without sanction for 10 real life years.
Well, I don't know if the Sciamancers
No.
are that old.
What do you mean being without sanctions?
I mean, okay, so like, not so much like you guys can sanction stuff, like sanction people. Like obviously, you just said you did. I'm talking about like the benefits of the guild sanction, because currently
Yeah, so
the Sciamancers don't have anything.
No, the only thing we had before was before the revamp. It was basically access to the guild hall and the master crystals, so you could get crystals because you needed them for the vibes crystalism. And that was basically it. And of course, that's just yes, come in, get your crystals, get out. So it's sort of strange because now after the revamp, I haven't been around much and I haven't been part of the guild in a sense more than backseat elder chit chatting with people and RPing, because I got a bit burnt out before the revamp thing. But I can't really say what could be a good sanction within the guild right now. Anyway, access to the guild hall is like the only thing we have.
So,
The Sissin, it would be cool if the Sissin, if you got, possibly access to the, what's that called? The body language subtext things. That would be kind of cool to get access to
subtext.
if you sanct-
Yeah. Okay. So apparently I saw that in the, I don't know, in our like the AB file or whatever, and I think when I had RP'd with Saren when he was still assistant in Spine's Reach,
Yeah.
he was doing like emotes or whatever, and like I saw that and I'm like, oh my god, this is amazing. Like, what is this? Like, I wish that I had this. Like, I don't, I was trying to figure out how to use it like in the middle of RP, like trying to
Yeah.
read this help file, but I couldn't figure it out, and
No.
so apparently
And
it is
it's
behind.
a guild only thing. Yeah.
Okay.
So that one is gated, and it would be kind of cool if that was possible to at least read in some way or use in some way if you get sanctioned. Those kind of things feel more like sanction commands because they don't affect combat. They just make it a bit more cool to have that that class and
Right.
that knowledge.
I mean, I guess I don't know, the idea of like guild sanctions being stuff that's like mechanical. Like if you look at like the monk, for example, that if they get sanctioned, they get 5 extra mind prints. Which
Yeah.
is a 200 credit artifact.
Yeah.
Which
That's a big
I mean,
thing.
Well-
ultimately it isn't that huge. I mean, because they give away, you get 20 free credits per day. But
No,
still, the
hold
point
on.
is that okay, go ahead.
It stacks with the artifact though. Like it multiplies with the artifact. You can, if you have sanction and the artifact, you have 20 mind prints. Because I did that when
but
I
I
had
mean,
monk.
and that's fine. Like, but rather than spending the 200 credits, to get that artifact, you could just go get sanctioned if you're
Oh,
really
I see.
hurting for
Yeah,
money.
yeah, yeah.
So.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's just weird because like it just seems like some of them are really impactful, and then some of them aren't so impactful, and it's like it's one of those things again.
It's not standardized in any way.
Yeah, and Ryan said in chat that she requested a sanctioned ability be added recently, and it was done almost immediately. Was that actually like put in the help file too? Because I think that the Sentinel ones that are in the help file have been like that for a while. I don't know though. Because I feel like I've read this help file in the past like month or two, and it's said those two things for Sentinel. So I don't know if it's been added to the help file or anything.
No idea.
Mule says in chat, Templar Biomancer sanction equates to 1,600 credits.
Really? For what?
Right. Redemption Aura will have 10% bonus against mobiles. Blade Fire charging
Looks
slightly
like Biomancer
increased.
Guild has some
Do,
at least revenant.
do we have a Blade Fire artifact?
Uh, she might be talking in relation about like how you have to like have higher penetration stat to get the where
Oh,
blade
okay.
fire
So
charging
she's
is.
talking about weapon runes,
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
much. Okay.
Oh, she then said that in chat as I was like in the other window thinking that that might have been what she meant. Sorry about
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So, so, wow.
But yeah, the point is, it's like we said, or like I said, it's like very hit and miss. Like some of them are crazy good, and you have to have them, and some are just like meh. So it's very strange. I don't know.
Yeah. Revenant has some sanction positives, so Sciomancer Guild can give them that through sanctions, apparently.
Gotcha. And Ryan said that it basically the new Sentinel sanctions not in the help file. Basically, any class in sanction Sentinel or Warden can heartbeat now and gain access to the guild hall, which are both flavor ones. Like heart, I believe heartbeat's the emote, kind of like how we
Yeah,
have Templar salute or whatever, and gain
yeah.
access to the guild hall.
Templar salute sucks. Don't at me.
I'm not a fan of
Rewrite
it
it.
either, to be honest with you.
Well, rewrite it then.
Maybe we should.
I can't. I don't know.
Come
Benedicto
on.
will stir from his slumber.
You're a good enough writer. You can change it. You can come up with a good salute if you like.
I don't think so. I'm actually a terrible writer. I was like, as soon as I saw the Mortal Builder applications, I was like, oh yeah, this would be so cool. And then I was like, wait, but I hate doing descriptions.
Right? Yeah. I
I love doing
typed.
descriptions. I think it's fun.
I went into Notepad and I'm like, I'm gonna do these room descriptions, and I typed the name of the first room, and then when I went to type description, I'm like, I haven't done this in forever, but
Well, I
I'm
know
good.
one Gally was asking me, can you do this? We need, you know, if you can finish these 50 rooms within a week, that would be fine. The faster you can do it, the better. And I think I tossed together 50 rooms in a day and then threw them at him. All of them were unique, of course, because, you know,
Yeah, that's
I
what they
had to
wanted
study
back then.
that. Yeah. And it was kind of fun because he didn't really expect it.
He didn't expect it to get done. Yeah. Well, that I mean
You know,
that
50
could
rooms in one day wasn't really what he thought I
right.
could do.
Well, this is a good transition into the topic about the Mortal Builder application. So I think that there's going to be an insane amount of interest in this, and they're probably going to get a ton of applications. And I do not envy them for having to sift through them all, especially given that they're all going to have 5 descriptions. You know, so.
Yeah.
But I think it's a great sign. It's another one of those great signs.
Yeah. And it's just, I haven't seen anything on the builder board for me to grab lately.
Right.
It's usually whenever I hop on and I try to check, there's either nothing there or there's something there and it's all been grabbed. It's like,
Right.
I wanted it too, but I can't because there's nothing there. So I'm hoping that along with them accepting more builders, that they spread out the actual assignments so that there's something, there's not just one major dump
Yeah.
in the middle of the night. And when I come on in the afternoon, my time after work, none of it is left because then I never get to do anything anyway. And I love writing room descriptions. It's the most fun thing I have. So,
Yeah. I've always been like, I can do building well. I just don't like it. Like it's not
oh,
something I enjoy a lot. Like, but I'm okay. Like I'm
yeah,
okay to good at it, you know, because I've done it so much
yeah,
over the years. But it's like I actually prefer more of like coming up with ideas that are interesting and new for an area, and then like the progging side of it. Like I always enjoyed doing that when I volunteered. The writing the descriptions and stuff is mind numbing to me, but you know, you do it as part of a thing that needs to be done to see the entire project to completion, you know. Um, so I'm actually really excited to write an idea I have in my application, like the last part where you write a big idea, more than I
yeah.
am to do the descriptions. But are you gonna
Yeah.
are you going to apply for it, Steve? Like, I know you said you didn't
Uh,
like it, but are you interested in
Probably
doing it?
not.
No? Okay.
Probably not. No.
But yeah, Wyatt says in chat, hell yeah, Mortal Builders come build stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of us applying. Like I said, I don't envy you guys for having to look through all of them. That's going to be, especially proofreading all of those, like 5 descriptions times like 50 people or something.
Yeah.
Maybe not 50 people, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I know that that for me, like designing, like I really have to be in the mood for it, So
Right.
that's why I don't do like custom designs for armor, weapons, or anything like that, unless it's for myself, because then there's really no expectation of like when that'll get done.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, randomly, if I'm like in the mood to write descriptions or whatever, or, write, haven descriptions, or write, house room descriptions, like I'll do that. But, in terms of like, having like a deadline or whatever, especially if I'm like not in the mood to do any descriptions or any crafting or anything like that, it gives me like major anxiety trying to get to reach this
Or-
deadline. So, and
Yeah.
I don't want to put myself in that situation where I feel like that I'm obligated to do something. So, because that's not really
I
fair to the
can
pools and not
completely
fair
see
to
that.
me.
Yeah. Sometimes it's, you get some kind of performance and anxiety and stuff because you really need to get it right and you need to get it done. I mean, when it comes to crafting, I do a lot of, custom things, and whenever people approach me for custom items like clothing or whatever,
Or
I
sausage
usually
holster.
try.
Sausage
Yeah,
holster.
yes, that was a fun one. I usually try to toss things together quite quickly,
Yeah.
and then throw it up into the queue. And most people probably have realized or noticed that that's basically what I do. I toss together something very quickly, and then I fiddle with it a little bit before I uh, hand it in. But I like those spontaneous writing description sessions.
Yeah. That's me too a lot. Like, and it also Ryan said in chat, big agree on needing to be in the mood. Yeah, it's like I have to be inspired to really like just want to do crafting of my own volition. Like, you know, me and Erzabet lived together for a year, and she had this giant spreadsheet on Google Docs of literally her crafting binge, she called it, and it's literally like thousands of lines of like short descriptions of an item, but they have no like examined, or
Yeah,
vice versa, like they have examined, but like, and she just has like all these things she wants to finish just to finish them or whatever. And to me, I can't be like that. Like I have to be like, okay, I want to go make this thing because this person inspired me to do it. Like, and that's kind of what I do. Like, the last thing I made recently was actually for Saran, our new convert. Based on some role play I did with them, I made them a journal with a uh, with an eagle and a sparrow on it, which are like both things that are pertain to their story. So that was pretty cool. I enjoyed that. But yeah, like as far as how that relates to Mortal Builder and building descriptions, descriptions are a whole different beast because like you have to just a good description doesn't try to tell the person what they're feeling or seeing. Like, well, it just kind of tells them what is there and not like what they think about it. And some
yeah,
people are kind of have a hard time sometimes writing things that are like that. It can be kind of boring to just be like, you see this and then you see this, and so you have to kind of like find ways to spice that up. And
yeah. Yeah, well, as I said, the spur of the moment kind of things, like the sausage harness
the
that Steve
sausage
mentioned.
harness, Jesus.
It was fun. It was RP related,
Uh
and
huh.
all of a sudden I had to make a harness to carry around a big sausage. It was
Oh boy.
weird. It turned out quite well.
Good grief.
Those kinds of crafting things where you have to write something up, I absolutely love those because it enriches the game. in so many ways. Which is why I think that just having the option of making a prop of some kind for uh, the moment, RP moment, would be fantastic if that was available. Even if it just disappears after half an hour. I think someone mentioned an artifact or something like a prop
Hmm.
on the forums.
Oh
I think
yeah, I
that
saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
yeah,
I saw that
I
too.
think that would be kind of cool because it would help create some extra stuff without having to go through the arduous approval system, because it doesn't really need to be perfect since it goes away within half an hour.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah. I mean, you have the putty that you can copy things, but then you have to make sure that you have the item to copy it, and that makes less sense.
Right.
I think.
Putty is quite awesome in that sense, though, because I think someone uh, used the putty to uh, create a division of Spirian guards or something like that, and gave it to me, and I was like, oh, um, why am I in charge of these people? We need to go patrol the sewers or something. And then I just led them down into the sewers and
Nice.
spread them out. It was kind of fun, but those kind of things are easier to make happen if you have that kind of prop opportunity.
Yeah, for sure. That would be
Yeah, I
awesome.
agree.
All right, so we talked a bit about Mortal Builder stuff, so we can go on to the next thing. So, again, this is going to be an event that kind of happened during the week that maybe Tiani doesn't know a lot about. But what did you think, Steve, of the SGS event and the new
Okay.
area that it led to? I haven't been to
Okay.
the new area yet. I will say that's
Uh,
another thing on my list for today to try and do.
I went to Yulenge last night after it got opened up. It brought back a lot of memories because when I came back, I didn't even realize that Yulenge was gone. Um, which, after learning the story, that it was basically Meltus who had picked up a like gem thing, which like blew up the whole island,
Hmm.
which is pretty indicative of the Atolian player base in general because we always have to touch shit.
Yep.
You know, like
If you can press the button, press the button.
yeah, pretty much. Where it's just like just please don't touch stuff. Just leave it alone.
Like the
Um,
chair. I still haven't seen the chair, and if I'd seen the chair, I would sit in it, even if people told me I shouldn't. I don't care.
I think that I've maybe sat in the chair like once, but after it knocking you off balance for 30 seconds or 50 seconds or something, I was like, I want none of that. That's potentially terrible. So, um, but anyway, so Yulangi was great. Getting there. There's been a little bit of like build up with like the expedition maybe not going so great because I saw a couple of death sites rolling a couple days ago. Um, I guess like the most hilarious thing about this was like the naming of the camps and and
Right,
how that
right,
whole
right.
thing spiraled into like this stupid ass bidding war, you know, and just watching the NPCs, faint over Spine's Reach matching like a 21 million gold donation or whatever. So, um, I mean,
Yeah, that was.
I think the event's going just fine.
It was
To
fun
open up a
reading
new
about it
patching
in the
area.
news.
Yeah.
And I've been to the island. Of course, I'm an explorer, so new area opens up. I want to see it, and I want to get the atlas up to 100% everywhere. So of course I went. So I've been out there today, and it seems like a really good area. I haven't looked at all the descriptions yet. That's usually on my next go-to, and looking through and checking for event possible quests and stuff. I have noticed one small mistake in one room because there is a hint about a rug that doesn't exist.
Mm.
So I'm gonna
Huh.
make a bug about that one. It's kind of interesting. You go into a room and it says, hint, this rug looks very comfortable to rest
Oh,
on. And there's no rug.
Right. Isn't it like a hive or something? Why would a rug be in a
It's inside
hive?
the hive. Yeah, it's inside the hive. So
Oh, well, all
I'll
right.
make a video about
Right,
that
it's
one
a
too.
hive full of like feral horkful, but there's a bookcase, off to
Yeah.
the corner.
So
Must have
in
those
one corner there's
that book,
apparently a rug.
Horkville Erotic Poetry by Zia Cottle.
Oh no.
No, 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 no. No
Uh,
horrible poetry. We don't want to read that.
Layla is sitting there reading it as you walk in.
Oh my gosh. I have to. I don't know. My hot take is I'm not a huge fan of those. Like where you have to go through and comb through the the room descriptions to find like a secret exit or whatever. I mean, I guess if it's like every once in a while, but there's a
They're
couple
not.
that are
They're
like
not
that.
that many. In on the land view, it's basically just walking around, so you don't have to worry about that. From what I noticed.
Yeah, because I think that when I explored it yesterday, I got up to like 97, 100 in the 3 areas that were there.
Yeah, it's not that many rooms, so you shouldn't have any problems finding the odd extra rooms. Also remember that if you use the golden translocator, um, you don't get the rowboat,
Right.
which is part of it as well.
Imagine
So
having a translocator.
Yeah, imagine. Man, I wouldn't need to be
Johnny out
sissing
here
if I could
just
just
flexing on
press
us.
a button, you know?
yeah, apparently I'm a whale. I never really realized when I became one. So it's just it happened. And I still die more than anyone when I go to lessers and stuff because I don't know how to fight.
We say that, and then Durif in chat is like, imagine, and then immediately does a market tell for looking for golden translocator fragments.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
I don't think there are so many around, so I don't
Yeah.
know if you find one.
May not be many around in the future either if we're not going to do as many promos. So
No.
it's a bit of a
But again,
side effect of that.
Speaking of the Ulangi event in the new area, I love that they brought Ulangi back because it feels like that one it disappeared very abruptly in a way. So it's nice that they did something with it and it came back. So yeah, I'm looking forward to exploring it a bit more.
Yeah, and I wonder if is that gonna be the only area of Ulangi we get is the hive, or if there's gonna be more? You know, like that's what I'm kind of interested to see.
Yeah,
There's like the beach area, because I vaguely remember the layout of Ulangi where it was like the outside, you go up the mountain or whatever, and then you go down into the hive. But it seems like the general layout is still there.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit different, but and the area where behind with the Grook population, that one is basically where the ash stores are currently, I think.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah. So talked about the SGS. How do we feel about the name of the camp that got selected in the referendum? I can pull the referendum up in game here if I can type. Am I really having problem typing referendum? There we go. Jeez.
It's referendum 5.
There we go. Yeah. There we go.
I have to say that I am particularly glad that it didn't get named after Unaga.
I tend to agree with you on that, but I'm sure we're going to be in the minority.
I mean,
I guess I didn't know him well enough.
Right.
I mean, I have no problem with the Leia's renewal point. It feels like it is related to renewal in a way. So, since it was an SGS event, though, I felt like the SGS option might have been more neutral, tether-wise. But that's just it's whatever. Leia's renewal point was my second go-to, even though I'm Shadow, so it's fine.
I mean, let's be real here. All these options were just terrible. And
Yeah.
I'm still pissed that Enorian didn't take my idea of that we should have named it. We should have named it Camp Assbutt and given it to the Carnifex. This is the only logical option.
You think so, yeah. You're cute.
I mean, I don't think so, but I also wouldn't have been mad about it. No, I think it's interesting, like how there was a ton of them that had research facility, research camp, research in the name, but one of the only ones that didn't have that in it won. I think that's kind of a little fascinating. I wonder if that had anything to do with it, or if it was mostly people's like the fact that they fondly remember Lace or not.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the word renewal basically incorporated whatever was happening with reviving the island in some way. So I think that's what brought it many points.
Yep. Okay. So we're good on talking about the SGS event.
Yep.
So I wanted to pull up the Thursday changelog. We're gonna make this like a regular thing since they're going to every week be doing a changelog like clockwork on Thursday. We could talk about it every week.
Oh, it is. I didn't even notice that. Is there like a changelog that comes out every Thursday?
Yes, so far.
Oh.
And it's always by the Atolian team at 0:00 time. So.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so I figure we could talk about it here a little bit.
He mentions, I think you mentioned it during the town hall, that when enough changes have been made,
it'll automatically do it.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So
Wyatt.
But if it happens, it might be a good thing to speak about.
Yeah, Wyatt said in chat it's not every Thursday specifically. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a good changelog.
Whenever enough things have happened and they've changed enough things, that's when this pops up. It's a good thing. I like it because it shows people working in the background. And you can always just, when you've seen one of those, do an esteem for the pools team for being awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Like I had said in Discord today, I was like, yeah, we're gonna make sure you guys get shouted out for being awesome. They've continued, like, first off, the pools have been, or the Solanis have been awesome even when Tyr was around, but it's much more visible. It's much more visible since there's been all this activity the last few weeks. So continued to be awesome.
Yes, keep it up, please.
A lot of these things in the changelog seem to be like just little things that there's not a lot to say about. Like, removed. Yes, this glass is an alias for glass. I mean, a lot of people didn't even know that was an alias for glass. So
I've gotten a lot of bugs fixed as well.
Yeah, me too.
Messages popping up about that, and that's good. Even small things that just, this has happened, and it's fun that they fix things that go quickly.
Yeah. I don't know if it's the case for any of these things in the changelog, but if any of these are like ideas that have been submitted, it would be cool to see the ideas that have been implemented be put in a changelog, because I know there's things that, again, like we just talked about, like there's ideas that a bunch of us may have been put in that were like, okay, it's put into the game, but then you don't like see it anywhere announced, like, for example, I had an idea posted that they said they put in the game, but I haven't checked yet. So like, if you, for the three of us in the game that do farming still or whatever,
bold of you to assume there's three of you.
Yeah, right. I don't even do it anymore myself, actually, but when you go to farm and you have like an artifact scythe and you like harvest cotton and you get the bonus cotton from the scythe from the artifact, it highlights it in green text, right? So it would stand to reason that, like, if you're using the artifact axe to log the trees, that when it gives you a bonus log, it would have it in colored text. Well, it never did, and then I had put an idea in to just have that be color green as well. And then they finally put that in, like they approved that idea recently, but it doesn't seem to be put like anywhere in the game that got changed. You know.
Yeah. I don't know if they didn't have this system in though, maybe with the automatic
Okay.
update stuff.
Yeah, Wyatt just said in chat. Yeah, some are ideas like the more aware locations for the brand, and some are bug fixes. They're all lumped in as changes. Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah.
I haven't went and done the quest for the elemental brand yet, but I should do it soon. I want to see how that works because I know that like when you do the quest, usually it just like puts it on you at the end. So I don't know if they made it to where you can pick now or what. I need to go check that at some point. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
I was kind of surprised on the topic of that particular quest. I don't know how many people in chat or here have done the quest to get the elemental brand, but it's the one that's in milestones. It's called a cage of flesh. It's
Yeah.
one of the milestones. You know, being that it's so tied to like elementals and stuff, I was really surprised that there was actually a bunch of Ascendral in Anorian that had never heard of the quest, and I
Yeah.
showed it to a couple of them. I was like, you guys should like write this down and like make it part of your guild since you're tied to the elements and stuff. But
Yeah. The thing is that it hasn't really been promoted towards the guilds, the mage guilds, that much because the ritualist isn't really. I think there was a clash in how theories worked between mages and this ritualist, which sort of made it like Ascendral didn't go do this quest because we don't do it that way. And the same thing with Sciomancers. We don't go do this quest because it doesn't feel like the correct application of magical theory, whatever.
okay,
So I think that it's been role played that way, and it can be a shame because it would be nice if it was angled more towards the kind of RP that has been going on in the guilds now that the revamps are done and everything.
Yeah, but the language.
the language. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, the language with the like you
You
get
get
the like a
specific language with
the
depending.
language with the elemental brand.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
That's
if you
true.
get the I think I have the smoke elemental or something. So um, I I randomly get I like these small things that come up. The
The ambiance from having the brand.
yeah,
Yeah.
the ambience. Yeah. So having that pop up, uh, because it can help with some RP, but it's rarely that it pops up at the right time
Right. Yeah.
during RP. So it's sort of like, yeah, weird to use it all the time. And it pops up quite often as well. So
I think the
I mute
first
it
time
sometimes.
that I did that quest, Kate was the one that showed me how to do it.
Mhm.
She didn't exactly tell me that there were like these messages that were gonna come with it. So like
Of
15
course.
minutes later, I'm like walking around and I'm like getting these messages about like, you know, having alien thoughts or whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my god, you need to get here. Something's going down. She's like, what? She's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, this is what's happening. She's like, oh my god, you are so cute.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's nice. I haven't removed mine for ages. I got it and then I just kept it um, without getting rid of it and getting a new one. So yeah, sure, you can do that just to harvest milestones or whatever. But I'm my character's RP is more aimed towards air, so I would probably just get air every time, anyways.
Yep. I'm gonna go ahead for everybody that's listening and may not be like in the web browser and chat. I'm going to go ahead and start up the credit giveaway if everybody wants to enter. You'll just type exclamation ticket and then space and then number 1. I'm gonna start it up. There it goes. We're not gonna close it for a little bit. We still got some things to talk about, but I just wanted to put that up. And while we're on the topic of that, I do want to go ahead and announce the fact that we had an anonymous player donate 1,000 credits for the giveaways. So basically, we have enough for 20 more streams, which is like 5 months. So
That's good.
it's really nice of them. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Anonymous.
Yeah, that's what I said too. Wyatt, when it happened, I was like, oh, wow. Yeah, they wanted to remain anonymous. I don't know if it gives it away, but they're basically they're taking a little break from the game, and they wanted to help us. So I really appreciate it. I hope that they still see this, and we thank you. And I hope everybody enjoys the credits. I'm gonna make sure that I always keep them set aside. I have separately from the 1,000 credits, I have 600 or so of my own still saved up. So I'm keeping an eye on it. Make sure we always have them. All right. And Layla says in chat, for what it's worth, I submitted a typo a few minutes ago and it was closed and fixed within moments. Yeah, I mean, that might have something to do with the fact that, there's a bazillion awesome Solani. But yeah, they're doing a great job. We love to see it. I still have a bunch of old bugs and typos, but there are things that are probably a little harder to fix for some of them that don't have access to the code and stuff like that. All right, let's see here. Here, before there's a couple more segments we might have that we can talk about. There's one more thing I wanted to bring up, because especially if we have some Solani in chat. So I actually, and this is kind of an interesting story from the week as well. We could kind of circle back to that, but I went and I messaged Jeremy Saunders, the president of Iron Realms, and I'm like, because obviously he knows about the stream. He's been on the stream that one time. And I was like, are you guys, as a company, before I even ask Ictennis, are you guys opposed to Solani being on? Because I know there was always a weirdness about that whole thing for the podcast. And also, I've had the idea for a stream and a podcast, since I was a Solani on Empyrean and stuff like that. And there was always, a weirdness about it. But he said that they're not actually opposed to it. If Solani want to come on the stream, they are more than welcome to. Is the gist that I got from Jeremy. So, but he said, it'd also be up to Ictennis. So then I asked Ictennis about it. I think I might have emailed him about it. And he said that he's okay with it tentatively too, as long as we don't get into the, micromanagement game aspects or whatever. And I think that's fine. So I just wanted to say, if there's any Solani who ever want to come on and talk about a specific thing, you're more than welcome to. Just message me on Discord or in game. And
what do you mean by the micromanagement thing?
I don't know what he means about that, but that's basically what he said.
I mean, I'm assuming that they can't, you can't specifically ask them, put them on the spot and say, what projects are you working on?
Yeah, that's what I took it as too.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't want to know about that either, to be honest, because I would want it to be a surprise for everyone, obviously. But
right, I think it would be, I don't know, because I think that you just mentioned that you haven't had any Solani that want to come on the show.
I messaged Karok about it because, little behind the scenes thing here for chat. And you might be a little disappointed, maybe not, but we had considered during the week talking about the Psymancer changelog. And some of us wanted to do it, some of us didn't, so I erred on the side of not doing it. But I had also messaged Karok to see if he wanted to come on and talk about it. For that specific topic, he didn't want to, and that's fine. But I had not messaged him back yet to ask him if he just wanted to come on for anything else. But I figure he's probably pretty busy. But I might ask him at some point, because there's some things that I think he probably wouldn't mind talking about. Maybe, I don't know.
I would be very hesitant to have specific people come on and talk about stuff that Atolians get very passionate about, like combat.
Yeah.
Especially since, given the last change log, where it didn't go so great involving Karok, that he got a lot of OC hate because of that. And I mean, I think I might have mentioned this before in previous streams, but I think that it would go a long way that if they're going to post any sort of change log regarding combat, that it just needs to come strictly from the Atolia team. So it's
Yeah.
just so that way, one, it appears like they're a unified front in making this change, and two, it pretty much completely eliminates directing any sort of like disagreement or hate towards one particular
Yeah, no witch
person
hunt.
up in the pools, you know?
Yeah.
So you might speculate that it might have been Kirok who did the coding and did the change, but ultimately, there's really no way of knowing. So,
No,
and I think
it's
that would go a
basically
long
the
way to
Italian team. Yeah.
right to taking a lot of probably a lot of like perceived stress off his shoulders from like making an unpopular decision. So
And I mean, just by looking at the forums on the recent changes, it has so much potential to get heated. So it's probably best um, not to toss it up in this kind of context.
Yeah.
right, yeah.
I mean, I guess I'm a little more optimistic. I feel like we could have handled it okay, but I would rather err on the side of caution. So,
It's probably for the best.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't think it would have gotten messy like on the stream, but I think that just in in general, like conversations that people have on Discord or like in their own private webs or whatever, they tend to be a little bit more assertive and a little bit more ballsy in their
Yeah.
in their feelings. So
Yeah. But like I said, if there's anybody that's watching this and is a Solani and you want to come on and talk about one thing and then peace out or whatever you would like to do with the stream, you're more than welcome to. I think that kind of circles back, and what made me think of it is like what if we because we were talking about Bamathis before, and I think that the new Bamathis, if they wanted to, could come on and be like, okay, this is maybe not spoil what obviously not spoil what's going to happen with Bamathis, but maybe like talk about the way they've changed how they play the character compared to the last couple people, that sort of thing, like, and
Yeah.
not sit here and like spoil things for us or spoil things behind
No,
the
but
scenes
just
or whatever.
set a bit of an atmosphere, and you get a feel for it. Could
Yeah,
be a nice thing.
and
I mean, speaking just on this with the Solani coming around and speaking about things, it would be interesting to have some kind of discussion going on where former Solani like us
yeah,
uh, get to speak to current Solani and just discuss how things have changed and explain differences in day-to-day life for volunteers.
yeah. We were talking about that beforehand. It's an idea I'd like to throw out there too. I think it would be cool to have a Solani centric stream where previous Solani and current ones, a bunch of us could get on here and talk about, like she said, like Tiani said, about the differences between then and now, and like, because I'm sure there's a lot of differences. I mean, like back when we volunteered 11 years ago, help edit didn't exist yet. Like you didn't have to go
right,
through
It's
help
been
edit
11 years
approvals.
for me.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like back then we didn't have to like worry about all these queues of things that we could go through. Like there was less of them. Like there was no help edit to go through back then, for example. So
oh shit, I totally just realized that we were all Selene up there at the same
Yeah,
time.
yes,
we were
yes,
That's funny.
kind of
I don't
interesting.
know why I totally didn't even think about it until just now.
yep.
Yeah.
We were all much different back then too, for
Oh,
sure.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Yep.
feel like I was quite a noob because I hadn't played anything like this before I started Itolia in 2006, and I got up at, I think it was 2008. I started as a Solani,
Hmm.
so I hadn't been playing for a long time. But yeah, it's interesting because some of the things that I helped create back then, my first Solani project, is actually up still and is frequently used, which
Wow, that's
is
cool.
amazing to know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. It's I can't even remember what my first project was. I think it was an event of some kind. I know that one event that I did, the end of it ended up having a thing that was placed in Bloodlock, and I don't know if it's still there or not. But I know that if you touched it and you were like a citizen of Bloodlock, it would like teleport you to one of the villages. And I always
Oh
wondered
yeah,
if that was still up, but
it's some kind of
it's a mural that's near the East Gate.
oh yeah, and then there's the carriages or stuff as well that can move you.
Oh, it was a mosaic. You're right, Mule. I forgot about
Yeah,
that. It's been so
yeah.
long. I thought it was a mural, but yeah, now that you say it, it was a
It's a
mosaic.
mosaic. Yeah. So yeah,
Oh, that's
mine
cool.
was Chapel Garden.
Oh, okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, Chapel Garden is my baby.
My God, there goes Bloodlock breaking shit.
Yeah, Bloodlock breaking my stuff from like 11 years ago.
Oh my God, I
It's
don't even think I don't remember if I had anything lasting. You know, I just like designed a couple rooms in like Delve's military quarters. I'm trying
Yeah.
to think. Oh, I think really the only lasting thing, which doesn't really like make any like it doesn't have a point now because Bloodborne don't exist. But when I was when I was Ome, uh, I made like a deal with Zaven because he was the GM of the Bloodborne at the
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
and they had like some like blood ritual that let them dream, which like as Omi, like he would totally not be okay with this. So I like went to him and I was like, hey, you need to give me your knowledge of this like ritual, and I'll give you something like in exchange or whatever. And I think it was like a couple days of like back and forth negotiating before he finally agreed to it. So I ended up getting the dream ritual pulled from the Bloodborne, and then I think like even before I like gave him something, I ended up stepping down from Solani, and I think I didn't play again for like 10 years. So
Right.
suck it, Zaven.
Oh no, poor guy.
Oh,
Poor guy, not even in chat to defend himself. Man, how
Hit him
dare
with the
you?
old razzle dazzle,
Yeah, maybe he'll see it in the VOD.
maybe. But yeah, that was my I don't know. That was the only thing that I did.
yeah. I helped. I basically designed the beginning of the Deriv skill set as well.
Oh,
I
that's
didn't
cool.
code it, but I designed the actual class skills.
Yeah,
That was
that's
kind of
cool.
nice. And then it got nerfed because I made it too big, too good with Quickfoot.
Oh God,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Quickfoot.
yeah. Everyone hated that one who wasn't a sentinel.
Oh man,
So, completely understandable.
I can practically hear Seer stirring wherever he is right now.
yeah. Another thing. Well, this is kind of weird. I don't know if it's true or not, but it probably is. The last time was a Solani, I was a Solani on Empyrean about 4 or 5 years ago, right? And I was sitting around one day, and one of the other Solani on there was just asking for general ideas of things to put into the game, like anything. And so I sat there and I brainstormed. I'm like, what if we had this system where we could do a town hall and it had these commands where you had queue and all this sort of thing. And I'd given them the idea, like I laid it out in a wiki and all these things, and they were like, "Oh, that might be all right," but I don't know. We just kind of do it the way we do it because at the time in Empyrean anyway, there was no moderation. Like if Jeremy did a town hall because he was the producer at the time on Empyrean, if he did a town hall, it literally was just everybody spamming says and everything, you know. So I was like, man, there's got to be a way we can make this better. And then I did that, and nothing ever came of it at the time. And then this one with Ictinus that he just did was the first time I'd been to one at all since then of any town hall kind. And then when I type town hall and I see these commands that are like identical to what I had as an idea, I was like, huh. I don't know if that's just coincidence or what, but I know that Empyrean and
They share
Aetolia.
they share stuff from game to
Yeah,
game.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. So, and I don't know if it's true, but it's my assumption from all the things that I've seen on Discord and read and stuff that the Solani that I might have told that idea to that was looking for ideas on Empyrean, I think he might be one of the Solanis that's on Aetolia now. So that's a possible thing that happened. But regardless, I love the town hall system. I think it's really cool to have the moderation in the queue, and you know, I
Yeah.
never thought I'd sit at one for 5 hours straight either, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
All right. So we went on a big tangent there. We'll say our interesting stories from the week are done, unless you guys have thought of anything else from the past week that you'd like to talk about.
Nothing specific.
I don't really have any stories.
Okay. You
Not for
don't.
a week. I mean,
Okay. So do you guys? We also have on the list here, and we might have touched on this already, but I don't know because this was more of a Tiani specific thing that she wanted to talk about. About you said NPC interaction, event talk ideas.
yeah. And it's basically just, one of those things that got me hooked to the game early on. Mob possession, where people from pools step in and just, make everyday RP fun for people anywhere. And it's the little things that make me smile and make me remember that this game is as awesome as it is. So for all the Solani in the chat and everyone listening, if you have a chance to just do that to people, it will probably lift their day. It can just be a sneezing guard or whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a huge thing. Even small things like breaking an ankle or something and needing someone to take them somewhere to an infirmary or whatever. It small things, small events, they help people build their own characters. It's all about character building. You get to see how your character reacts in a situation that someone else puts you in, and that's sort of why I love mob session. And I have been through a few of those myself. And as a Solani, I try to do that quite often, just for the fun, knowing that I think it helps people.
For sure. Yeah, it's that. I think that's one of the big parts of it. Obviously there's a lot of work done on events and fixing bugs and typos, but I think some of the best role play is the stuff that doesn't need to be epic or heroic.
No, just the little things. I mean, just writing things up, and that's why I think that using the events board, even for small things, just to show that the game is alive. This happened. It wasn't a big thing. Doesn't have to be a huge, long event post. Just something small,
Yeah.
because it brings people in and it shows that, if I'm just around, if I'm logged in and I walk around, things might happen. And yeah, the world is alive.
Yep. Speaking of that, we got a mob possessed end game in the room I'm standing in now, so that's cool.
Nice. Way to go, Lonnie.
Yes.
We love you.
Yep.
Sorry, this is like I don't know. This is big plot stuff, so that's why I kind of went. I
It's
kind of
okay.
went a little quiet. So this is stuff that I'm like directly involved in game. So
Yeah. I think chat will I think chat and the viewers will understand. I mean, they see that you're in the room with me, so and that you're saying
Yeah,
things.
I went and hid away inside my character's house, so they can't bother me right now.
Yeah. This could be kind of an interesting topic to talk about. It's not on our list, but I think some people, at least from my perspective, are better at say we have an event like right now. Some people are better at like interjecting themselves into the role play than others. Like for me, I'm horrible at it. Like I just like watching what other people are doing. Like and I feel weird if I like interject into what's going on. But then there's some people that are like really good at that. They're just like organically able to like add themselves to what's going on and it makes sense. Um,
Yeah,
and I just
I think
I wonder, yeah, I just wonder like what I don't know like what does that mean and like what kind of thing is that inside of someone that makes them different when it comes to that sort of thing.
it's just, people are different and some might be a bit intimidated. I know I've talked to some people who feel intimidated by other role players and they don't feel like they're comfortable interjecting themselves without being invited, or
Right.
feeling like, oh, this known RPer, I'm terrified of making a mistake in front of them or something, especially if it's an NPC, because then it feels like they might ruin it. And that, I just want to say to everyone that don't feel that way
Right.
because everyone makes mistakes. Everyone has trouble. But for all of those people who don't have problems interjecting themselves into RP in a situation like that, see if you can help guide other people in by using your emote to ask them questions and sort of draw them in. This is the teacher in me
Hmm.
speaking, because
Right.
this is what I need to work with my students with when they have trouble speaking. Um, I have to use my better students to pull out talk from and discussion from the weaker students, just to make sure that they get a chance to speak and get a chance to be the hero,
Right.
participate, and feel like they are doing something. So
Right.
that might be something that other players can be a bit conscious of, that if there's someone else around and you know that this person might not always be around or might not be involved in much, grab them, pull them in, and see if you can get them involved.
Yeah.
And never ever shame someone for trying, ever. It's just bad form, and it makes people feel like they can't be part of anything.
Right.
So
Well, thinking about that, so like on the one hand, I could see a good idea being like if you're seeing like there's 8 or 9 people in the room and there's some of them that are interacting and the others are just being quiet. Do you think it would change the organic nature of the role play too much to have like a personal emote to like some of those people that aren't talking to kind of like nudge them into interacting, or is that just like always going to have to be their choice
I
entirely?
think that glancing at someone else, doesn't have to be completely directed towards them and say, "Hey, can you come here and speak to this person?" But if their name pops up in your emote, it might be an invitation that they need to at least take a step closer
Mm-hmm.
and maybe use a pre-mote because they're too intimidated to use a complete custom emote or something. I mean, it's just, being inviting without dragging someone in and saying, "Hey, stand here, talk to this person," because that's just going to be weird. But glancing at someone or acknowledging someone coming into the room or whatever might just pull them in enough and give them the opening they need.
Right. Well, a couple things from chat before we keep going. First off, Hilra said about 8 minutes ago, "I hope everyone signed Rosmail's important petition." I don't know what that's in reference to. Uh, if you
Huh?
could, yeah, like if you could provide some more context, that might be a little joke or it might be serious. I don't know, Hilra. Um, Also, Rowan said that I heard Srine is developing a stutter. Oh, Wyatt says catgirls.jpg. Oh, some kind of catgirl Rosmail petition, I guess.
I see.
Yeah, and
I don't know. We have Roger Mullins, so I don't think that, you know, there's a shortage of cat girls in the game.
oh, Helra said you brought up the 5 hour town hall a bit ago. I guess it was brought up at the town hall. I don't remember. It's been a little bit. And then Artsy Fartsy says I'm one of those people having a hard time. Why am I getting attacked now? Oh, are we killing the female? I guess.
Apparently,
I can't even. I'm blacked out, so I don't know if they're still attacking her or not.
someone died.
I guess I'm helping now. Hold on, everyone. I have to actually hit a button to attack here. I have to hit
Yeah,
my attack
the
macro.
huge responsibility pressing a button.
Yeah, it looks like she's
Yeah.
dead. Okay. Anyway, so Artsy Fartsy said, I'm one of those people having a hard time skipping into RP and taking place. I think my social anxiety is reason for it, but like Tiani says, just a small gesture could be enough for me to see that I have, quote, permission to join in. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
kind of what I meant too. It's like but at the same time, I'm also not ignorant to the fact that like when you have like we do here, where you have like 9 or 10 people standing in the room and potentially one Solani doing all this, it might be a little hard to add that on to. You
Yeah.
know.
Well, and people who are strong leaders tend to take a bigger role, and then it ends up being just them doing the big things every time. So for people who know that, yeah, I've been approached or I've done a lot of things, there is the option of taking the back seat and giving the chance to other people instead of powering on and being the hero every time. And I think that's one of those things that I've noticed, that often the leader person keeps staying in charge the entire time instead of, trying to promote someone else who is not as prominent in the community. Um, I think that it would be better if they at least got the chance, and a person, if they see that, yeah, this person is trying, instead of, powering on and just dragging them along, see if they want to lead. Doesn't have to be a huge thing, and if they can't handle it, or if the Solani can't, you know, transfer over towards the new person, well, at least try it.
Right.
Um, and yeah, I
Oh.
know also, and this is probably going to be a bit contentious, maybe, but um, there are difficulties sometimes to get into RP because some people don't like to hear it, but there are clicks in the game.
Mm-hmm.
And those clicks sometimes have difficulties letting new people in, even if they walk into a room and try to RP, because they'll stay quiet, or they'll
Mm-hmm.
focus their attention where they want to have their attention without letting the new person, giving the new person a chance. And this is something that I think is a continuous problem that I feel people should try to work a bit more with, me included. Um, I think it goes for everyone. Just try not to shut down people who are trying to get in, and get some RP going. I know there are people that you normally try to ignore, or, stay away
Right.
from, because you know that you don't match. But oftentimes, new or younger characters are trying to get in and trying to be engaged in the community. And sometimes that can be extremely difficult if there's a click mentality where you don't really have a say unless you're an alt that everyone knows, or
Yeah.
and that can be a problem.
Yeah. And Mule says in chat, people have friends who authorize that. Yeah, like well, I think there's it's funny because I think in regards to clicks in general, it's like sometimes there's clicks that you're in this click. Like there's some that are like that where it's like a specific group of people in like a clan or something. But then you also have ones like, for example, I'm pretty sure I'm in one in Anatolia and I just don't even know it. And it's like just the people that I interact with regularly. And
Yeah.
there's sometimes where I think you can like accidentally fall into that and not even mean to. And it's
Yeah,
just
and that's understandable. And I'm saying that, just if people are more conscious about it, they can try to think about ways of bringing other people in if they struggle.
yeah.
And
And
also, the people who struggle, if they can just sort of give a shout out and say, "Hi, I've been trying, but I'm struggling to find a way into this community, whether it's the city or the guild. Is there any chance that someone can help me?" That would probably be a good idea too, but it's very difficult to do that because you feel, I think it can be feel strained a bit.
yep, I agree. It's an interesting dynamic because like for the longest time, like when I was younger in my 20s and stuff like that, whenever I thought of a click, I thought it was just like the first example I gave. It's just these people that are trying to come in and they only want to affect change in their way and they only want to do things their way. But as I went on, I do think it is also it's worth saying that you can be in that sort of situation and just not even know it, you know.
Yeah.
But we got some. Rowan has said all kinds of things in chat here.
I mean, I think I don't know. Sorry, I'm like kind of just tuning in
Oh, it's
now 'cause,
okay.
like I'm doing some RP in game.
Yeah, I know. We're watching on stream.
I think that it's safe to say that it doesn't really matter where you go, you know, what kind of game you play. There's always going to be sort of like a click. I think it depends on, I don't know, how to like phrase this so it doesn't sound so cheesy, but to kind of like use your powers for good.
Right.
Personally, I'm not a huge fan of being that person who's like, you know, I mean, like just look at like Srain, for example. He's been in leadership, he's led guilds, he's, you know, he's for all intents and purposes, like he's a hero character, you know. And I like
Yep.
Meal, hero character, you know, she's the commander of the Carnifex, you know, and she will always be known as that, you know.
Yeah.
But then you have some people who kind of just like stay in power just for the sake of having power, like, you know, but they don't really do anything with that organization. And I think that that kind of mentality is definitely super detrimental to the game. You
Yeah.
know, that you need to kind of develop your identity outside of just being a leader. I mean,
Mhm.
you can still be a leader without mechanically being a leader. Like, you can be somebody that people look up to, but you don't necessarily have to be, you know, have to be the guild master or be the city leader, you know, to enact those types of changes. So, and I think that getting new blood is definitely is a good thing, is a great thing, and I think that we need to
Yeah, it
definitely
helps the
foster
guild
more.
and the city develop. I think that changing leadership for the right reasons, of course, but changing leadership more often would probably be better for a lot of organizations in the game.
Yeah, I agree. It may not even. It doesn't even have to come from the idea of like negativity or trying to hurt that person. It's more of like, you know,
Yeah.
this is a game and there needs to be churn. Is
Yeah.
how I would put it.
I mean, it takes a lot of effort to run a guild or to do stuff and keep a guild running and moving forward and being fun. So taking a break from that is probably a good idea, because then you can build up energy to get back to it if you want to.
Yeah, it's just sometimes people in the head leadership roles get very protective of that organization. You know, I think that's a lot
Yeah.
of it too, and they feel like if they're not the one protecting it, then you know what's going to happen and stuff. And there's a lot of fear of the unknown with that, but it also, you know, I am not unaware that this applies to me too. It applies to all of us. Some of us take the game way too seriously. And but that's also the name of the game. Is like we play it to be immersed, and I understand that too, or else I
Yeah.
wouldn't play it all the time. But I think you got to have a bit of a balance, you know, between being too immersed and not being immersed enough. And I think you have to take a step back sometimes and be like, okay, is what I'm doing helpful to the game, or is it just like I'm doing it because I'm used to doing it, and I'm
Yeah.
being protective of my thing that I'm in charge of, you know?
Yep. Big agree.
Yeah.
All right. So one more thing I wanted to say while we still have viewers in here, because we're gonna get ready to close the credit giveaway. If anybody has not entered into it, you type exclamation ticket space and the number one. I also wanted to ask everybody who's still watching and is new in here specifically, if you have not followed us, please follow us. We had Rada452 follow us. Hey, and then I don't know if he wants me to say it or not, but it's kind of public knowledge because it's on his Discord profile. But the Ictennis just followed us, so I guess he's watching.
Hi.
Hello, Bob. Uh, but anybody else who's not following, please follow. With Ictennis's follow, I think we only need 4 more follows to get to affiliate. There's like 1 or 2 tiny things I would need to do to get affiliate. Like I'd need to stream another extra day, and then we'd get it. But the biggest hurdle is the followers.
Yeah.
It's well. Actually, let's go through some of these things in chat. We'll get to that, but let's go through some of the things in chat that we've
That's
missed.
it. I'm out of here. I'm going to Final Fantasy.
But you can do both. Like a bunch of our people that play, they totally do. You would probably have to you'd probably have to stop playing WoW so you'd have more time, but
Listen, I haven't even played WoW today.
today you've been up like 2 hours, bro. Like, what are you talking about? All you've done today is role play in this room that I'm standing in for like 2 hours, and
the level of hate right now.
20 minutes before the stream started.
yeah, rolled out of bed. It's okay. We understand. You stayed up late.
Jesus.
But Rowan said a bunch of things in chat. It's daunting coming to established community. One thing the old guard can do to help support newcomers is create small opportunities. Don't try and get new people to lead major stuff. Instead, start them off with something small and give them a role in it.
Yeah.
And Beautiful Chaos, I'm not sure who they are. Obviously, they're someone from Anorian from what they've said.
Izia.
Oh, okay. She says, I'm old, but sometimes my anxiety is bad depending on the day, so I hide behind Sryan or who else is in there. But then other days I'm feeling better and I'll take a more active role.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that goes to say that, like, this game's super immersive and it is easy to take super seriously, so, like, I can understand that, especially since we all know that a big portion of this game is that it's a social thing.
Yeah.
That's why we all play it, let's be real. Like,
and I mean, everyone is passionate about the game, and everyone wants to try to make the game better. It's just that there are a lot of different ideas, and that's understandable. Everyone just needs to realize that we all try to improve things.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
Just because this is a game we all love.
For sure. And then Rowan went on to say, I had someone approach me out of character in game recently and tell me they were threatened because people who enter an organization and give their attention to newbies are bad actors who intend a coup. I mean, that's a possibility. I mean, it's not outside of possibility. I've seen that in other games and in Aetholia in the past, but if you think sadly, if you think that way, you're never gonna have any growth either. So, I mean, it's one of those things where you can be aware of it, but not necessarily assume it's going to happen. I don't know. It's and then of course our wonderful producer Rick Tennis says there will be no cat girls, and there you have it, no cat girls, guys.
No cat girls. Okay.
Lots. Mule says that's a bad take, and people who think that are the kinds that need to take a hard look at why they're leading an org. And then Steve is very angry that there's no cat girls coming. And Beautiful Chaos says newbies are the lifeblood of an org, and that is true. We have to have newbies, or it's just we're going to be basically like we were the last couple years, where there's just like this handful of us and nothing new happens. Newbies.
Just making alts just to
do
new stuff. Yeah.
Well, it's like again, like one thing, a good example of that is Saran or Rowan's character in chat. Not Sryan, because it's hard to pronounce. They're spelled vastly differently, but they're kind of pronounced similarly. But anyways, Sarian started doing roleplay on City Chat in Anorian recently about maybe trying to fix the docks, the slums in Anorian. And apparently that's a thing that the city's going to try to do now because of it. So, you know. And then if that person had not said that, like, would have anybody have ever thought of it? Because, you know, and that comes from having new people. So it goes to show that that's true. It's good to have new people because then you get new ideas. And all of this game is about new ideas, in my opinion.
Yeah.
All right, let's go ahead and remove that topic. I did have one last topic, but I didn't really prepare anything for it. We can talk about the idea of it though. When I know Steve did not ever listen to the audio podcast. I don't know if you did or not, Tiani. I think you were on the interview. We interviewed once. Yeah. But like back then when me and Rebecca were doing it, who was Zyla in game, we had a little segment called Hansel's Hovel that we came up with in one of the last episodes. And I think it'd be cool to bring it back at some point. We can do a little more preparation on it, but I'd like to talk about maybe at some point, like, you know, it's more of a did you know segment of like maybe potentially obscure commands or things in game that might not be readily apparent.
Yeah.
But I didn't have time
That
to prepare
would
for
be
that.
a fun thing.
Kind of put that information out there if anybody has ideas for that. All
Dude,
right.
I'm super stoked to actually hear more about that because I mean as long as I've been playing Atolia, I really don't know a whole lot about anything. So so any help would be just greatly appreciated.
But you know that you can always come to Tiani about exploration things. She doesn't mind sharing her knowledge about geography with anyone. So anyone out there who needs to walk around and learn about the little nooks and crannies everywhere, and just approach me, I silly, and she'll probably point things out to you.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. And yeah, we're running out of topics here, guys.
Yeah,
This might be one of our shorter ones, even though I think we covered a lot of stuff, like maybe
yeah,
even
I
more than
think so.
normal. All right, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and draw the winner for the giveaway here. Let me find the button here. Close giveaway. Draw a winner. Oh, it's Rad of 452. That was the biggest participation on the giveaway so far. Had a 10% chance to win that because there was 10 entrants. Let's see. I don't know who your character is in game. If you want to tell me in chat, you can, or you can you could you could tell me once we're off stream if you don't want. Oh, it's okay. It's Zoe. All right. Well, that's cool. Okay, cool. That makes it easy.
It's
Let me go.
Schneekel.
Not gonna lie, I always feel better when newer players win these credits than older
Yep.
players. So good for you, Zoe. There we go. All right. Let's see here. Okay, so is there anything you guys want to talk about before we head out early here? Is there anything on your
I'm
mind?
good.
What about you, Steve?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today. So
Yeah.
Okay. One thing I do want to remember to do this time before we leave is and it's something I've only done once, and I kind of did it at the very end last time. I want to raid someone. Um, there's a person that I follow on Twitch. His name's Gamut. He does Rocksmith streams, which is a lot of fun. You go in there, and it's kind of like Guitar Hero, but it's with a real instrument. And he takes song requests. Like there's a giant database of custom songs you can request from. And he's become a real good friend of mine. I mod for him on his stream. I like moderate the playlist and stuff. And he's helped me out a lot. And like he helped me when I needed help when I moved to Las Vegas. He gave me money when I needed it, and he's a really cool dude. He's from Canada. Doesn't play the game, but he's just a really cool dude. And so I'm gonna rate him with you all, and you can see if you like him or not. If not, it's cool. But I thought I'd show you all something that I enjoy outside the game that's related to Twitch. So we're gonna go ahead and raid Gamut, and then we're gonna get out of here. And I hope you guys have a good day. We'll see you next
Yeah.
time.
Take care, everyone.
All right, we're gonna count down here, and then once we rate him, and I'll hit the stop button for everyone. All right.